Hello girls and boys, in this video we are going to learn everything there is to know about coming soon pages or under construction pages as they are also called. What they are, why do we need them, and how we can give them extra functionality that will help our business in the future. Hello, I'm Gabi, I'm a freelance web designer and developer with 20 years of experience, and this is what I'm doing on my channel, sharing this experience and teaching people how to create websites, how to get started in web design, and how to have a successful freelance business. If this is something you're interested in learning, please click that subscribe button and like this video so I know to produce more like this type of content. Also, feel free to say hi in the comments because starting a YouTube channel is a pretty lonely experience, so I'll need all the encouragement I can get. And if you're here only for the free stuff, for the free template, that's also okay. You can just download the template directly from the description box below and just use it on your site. And if you don't know how to import that free template, you can jump directly to the timestamp where you will learn how to get the template on your website. You should know that this is first and foremost a web design tutorial. Of course, I'm going to discuss all the technical aspects, but I'm also going to teach you how to actually design a page. I'm going to explain all my design choices, why I did this and not that, why this color and not the other one, and so on. Designing a coming soon page is a great way to get your feet wet in this domain, web design, and it's a small enough project that nobody should feel threatened or discouraged by it. It takes exactly 60 minutes to design from beginning to the end, design explanations included, so if this is something you're interested in learning, please continue watching. The tutorial is adapted for complete beginners, so don't worry if you don't know how to code or how to design. I'm going to walk you step by step through all the process. If you want to follow my steps exactly, you can download the project files from the link in the description. In those project files, you will find all the images or all the fonts I'm using for this page, and you should know that the images are taken from the website pexels.com, which is a site where you can find stock images free for personal and commercial use, but it's recommended, of course, that you replace these images with ones that are more appropriate for your business. Okay, now let's get started. So first of all, what is a coming soon page or an under construction page, as they also call it? Well, sometimes you will be working on your own website or on a client's website, but the website will not be ready for the whole world to see it. Like, for example, right now I'm working on my own portfolio website, gabithedesigner.com, and I have a bunch of problems here, like the menu doesn't work, and I have a bunch of lorem ipsum text all over my website, even down here too, and the buttons do not take anywhere, the images need replacing, I have to also change these logos, and this website is just not ready to receive any visitors, and it would even be embarrassing for me as a web designer if someone came and saw this hot mess of a website. And since it will take a while longer until I finish my website, I want to hide it from the rest of the world, meaning from the visitors that are not logged in. And of course, I will still be able to see the behind the scenes website, this website I'm working on, because I have administrative powers to this website. But other people will be able to just see this coming soon page I have right here. So this is the design we are going to learn how to create today. It's a very simple page, very straightforward. And the best thing about it is that we'll also learn web design principles as we go, because learning by doing is the best kind of learning. So what do we need to create this coming soon page? Well, we will need two plugins. One is mandatory and the other one is optional. For this coming soon page, we will need a free plugin called Elementor, and it is the one right here. Elementor is a page builder plugin, and it does exactly what its name says. It builds pages, it builds websites. Now, back in the day, you had to learn all these programming languages like HTML and CSS and PHP and JavaScript, and even when you knew them by heart, it will still take you at least a couple of hours to create this simple coming soon page from scratch. But now with these modern page builders like Elementor, you don't need to know programming, and in some cases you don't even need to know how to design, because Elementor does all the heavy lifting for you. So now you can create this page in exactly 20 minutes, design explanations included. I already have Elementor free installed on my website. And now, besides Elementor Free, I'm also going to use Elementor Pro because I have an Elementor Pro license. With Elementor Pro, I will be able to create my coming soon page even faster and with nicer visual effects than what I have available in Elementor Free. An Elementor Pro license costs only $49 per year for one website, and that's like the price you would pay for a nice dinner in town. And in my experience, it's totally worth it, especially if you want to get serious with this web design stuff. You can find a link to where you can purchase Elementor Pro in the description below, but you should also know that having an Elementor Pro license is optional for this tutorial. Of course, it's nice to have, but if you don't have one or you aren't ready to purchase it, that's okay, because you'll still be able to follow the steps in this tutorial, because I'm going to describe how you can achieve a similar effect using only Elementor Free. So now let's get started. Now, every good website design starts with a little bit of thinking. Even if it's supposed to be a simple page like this one, let's see first what we need this page to actually contain. First of all, we will want our company logo on the page up here. This way people will know where they are and they'll identify your brand. And usually that logo will be found in the left-hand side, so that's what we are going to do. Second, we need a hero shot of some kind, at least one photo of what we are working on behind the scenes to spark a bit of interest and curiosity. And even if your product or website isn't ready yet, you might still have a prototype or a temporary mock-up, and it's a good idea to place it in here. And in my case, I will have a bunch of images that will give the visitors a preview about what I will be blogging about. And these images aren't actually simple images, they contain a surprise or an Easter egg, and I'll tell you about it when we come to that section. Another thing we want to have is a clear value proposition, and in my case is this title here that announces the visitors what they will expect from my website. From this value proposition, I will make a single word stand out by using a different font and a different color, because this is the feeling that I want my visitors to remember when visiting my coming soon page. We also need a bit of description, a bullet list or a very concise sentence about the core benefits of the product or website that I'm developing behind the scenes. And I'm going to have some dummy text here for now, but of course feel free to write an actual description that suits your business. And lastly, we need a single call to action, or CTA as they are also calling it. And this call to action is a part of the website that prompts the visitor to do something or to execute an action. And in the case of a coming soon page, this call to action can be this newsletter subscription form I have right here. Of course, different businesses might have different call to actions. Some might decide it's important for the users to like their Facebook page, or others might decide that they want the visitors to download some file. You decide what's right for your business, but in my case, I'm going to go with this newsletter form. Some companies also decide to have a countdown timer like on this page. And of course, you can have that too in Elementor Pro, or even with Elementor Free with the help of another free plugin. I personally don't like this for a coming soon page because there are more appropriate ways to using such a tool. For example, when you have a big sale coming soon, or at least something a bit more exciting for the visitor than launching a simple website. So now let's get started. I'm going to go back to my WordPress dashboard and I'm going to go to Elementor Tools. In here, I have a couple of tabs up here, and I'm going to go to the Maintenance Mode tab. Under Choose Mode, I have it currently on disabled, but under Choose Mode, I have two options here, a Coming Soon mode and a Maintenance mode. So what does this mean? Well, you would use the Coming Soon mode when you want to make a modification to your website that will take a while to complete, like when you are building a website from scratch, or when you're redesigning a website, something that will take at least days to complete. The Coming Soon mode returns an HTTP 200 code, and that means that it tells the search engines, Google and others, that it's okay for them to index this coming soon page, to show the page in the search results when someone searches for your website. Now, the maintenance mode I have here tells the search engines to come back a bit later. It returns an HTTP 503 code. And that's robot talk for, hey Google, don't index this coming soon page, don't show it in your search results. And you would use maintenance mode whenever you need to do a small modification to your website, the kind of modification that takes minutes or even hours, but not days. So when you're fixing a bug, for example, or when you're adding new products in your store, stuff like that. Now I'm going to be working on my website for a while longer, so I'll choose the coming soon mode. And now that I chose this mode, I have to create a template or a page that my logged out visitors will see when they visit my website. So I have here choose template. I have a couple of templates, but none that I can use for a coming soon page. So I'm just going to click on create one now. So I can create a template especially for this purpose. And now I'm being taken to this new screen where I need to give my page a name like coming soon. And now I need to click publish. And now that my page is named and published, I'm going to click edit with Elementor. Okay, so now if this is the first time you're using Elementor, things might look a bit overwhelming, but I promise you it's very simple. So here's a crash course of 60 seconds in Elementor. Now Elementor works with sections, columns, and widgets. And let me create a section right now by clicking this plus icon and selecting a section with a single column. So this is my section. A section is like a box or a drawer that will contain your stuff. A section can have one or more columns, and right now I have a section with a single column, but I can right click on it and choose add new column to have a section with two columns. And these columns are like drawer separators or drawer organizers, and they will keep your stuff from mingling together. And now for each section or column, you can make settings like changing the background here to have a solid color or even an image, to changing the container width, or changing the margins or the paddings. And these are available for sections and for columns. In each columns in a section, you can drag and drop what they call Elementor widgets. And you will be able to find the Elementor widgets by clicking on this top right icon. And here are all the widgets. They are on categories from basic to pro. The pro widgets you need Elementor Pro to be able to use, and so on. There are multiple widget categories you have here. And these widgets are the actual functionality, the things that you want to have on your website. For example, you have a widget for latest posts right here. Where is it? Here I am. Latest posts, you have a widget for latest posts, and you have a widget for a text editor, and a widget for a heading, and a widget for an image. And for each of these widgets, you can add them to your columns with drag and drop, and you can also do settings for each widget. For example, for this image, I can choose my actual image from the content tab. I can choose an image size and an alignment, a caption and a link, and then I have the style tab where I can have all these extra settings like the image width, maximum width and height, and a bunch of other cool settings that I can do for my image. And of course, I also have the advanced tab, which is approximately the same for all the widgets you have. And from the advanced tab, you can set up a margin, a padding, an Z-index if you know CSS, and a couple of other stuff. That's all you need to know about Elementor in order to use it. Now let's start designing. First of all, I'm going to delete my Elementor section by clicking this X icon right here. And now I'm back to square one. If I go back to my coming soon page right here, I will see that I need the coming soon page to have its own header and its own footer, which is currently set to be blank. But on my page right here, I already have a header and a footer that comes from the actual website I'm working on. So I need to have these removed. So how do I do that? I'm going to go to this bottom left icon called settings. And for the page layout, I'm going to click the drop down and select Elementor Canvas. So a normal Elementor website has this global header and footer on all the pages, but we don't want to have those on our coming soon page. We want to have temporary ones. So this Elementor Canvas tells Elementor that you want to work on a blank sheet of paper. You want a clean slate and therefore independent of what you are designing for the rest of the website. Now let's see what we need first. We first need a top section right here with a logo and social icons. And let's design that. I'm going to click the plus sign to create a new Elementor section. And I want this section to have 2 columns because in the left hand side I'm going to put my logo and in the right hand side I'm going to put my social icons. Now when you first create this, each column is set by default to take an equal amount of space. So now that we've created a section with 2 columns, each column will take up exactly 50%. But don't worry, you can modify that by hovering your mouse in this space that separates the 2 columns and dragging left and right. And this is the way you modify the width for each column. Now I need the logo, so I'm going to go to this top right icon and I'm going to search for the Elementor widget called image. And here it is. Now I'm going to grab it with my mouse and with the left button pressed, I'm going to drag it in my left column and release the mouse button. And here is my image that will soon become my logo. So now let's add the actual logo. Of course, you would add your company's logo, but if you want to follow step by step on what I am doing, you can upload the logo that I've designed specifically for this project and that you can find in the project files you can download from the description below. I'm going to make sure I'm on the content tab and I'm going to click choose image. And now I'm going to upload files. Select files, and I'm going to go to the place on my computer where I have the project files, coming soon free kit. I'm going to open the images folder and the logo folder, and in here I will have the logo.png, which is just a dummy logo I've created for you to follow in my steps. I'm going to click open and then I'm going to click insert media. And here it is, my logo. And now my logo is a bit big. It's too big for this page. So I'm going to go on the style tab and make sure the width of my image, the width of my logo is set to 28%. And now the logo maybe 30%, okay. And now the logo looks good, but it's you can see that it's centered aligned in my column. So let's fix that. Going back to the content tab, I'm going to go to alignment and click left. And here it is, my logo is now left aligned. So let's see what we need next. Next we need these social icons and we're going to add them because we want to give our visitors the possibility to stay in touch with our company even outside our official website. So I'm going to click on this top right icon right here and search for social icons. Here they are. These are the ones we need, available in Elementor Free and Pro. So I'm going to grab them with my mouse and drag them in the right column. Here we go. The social icons look good, but we also need to style them a bit. First of all, I'm going to set the alignment to the right. And now I have here these tabs, social icons tabs, which are currently set to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. But at any point you can open one of these tabs by clicking on it and change the icon to the social media one you want to use. Click on icon library, search for example Dribble, find Dribble, click on it and click insert. And by magic the icon has changed and the name for this tab has also changed. And of course you can give it your own link in this field right here, available for all the icons you want to have. And you can add a new icon by clicking add item, or you can delete an icon by clicking on this X icon right here. Now let's style them a bit. For shape, make sure that it's set to rounded. And now let's go to the style tab and give the icons our own color and style. I'm going to change the color setting from official color to custom. And now two other options appear here when I set my color to custom. For the primary color, I'm going to click the color box here. And it doesn't matter what color I choose here, as long as I drag the visibility slider all the way to the left to make the primary color a transparent color. And now my icons have disappeared, but don't worry, we will bring them right back. For the secondary color, I'm going to click the color box right here and I'm going to choose a dark gray. As promised, my icons are now back on my website. So I'm going to choose this dark gray and close the color selection box. Now I want my icons to be a bit smaller in size, so I'm going to go to size and either drag this slider or just type in the box the size I want, which in my case is 15. And I want a bit of spacing between my icons. There is already some spacing, but I want more, so I'm going to set that to 12. Okay, and now if I scroll down, I find here another category of settings that I can make, and those are icon hover, and here you can choose a cool animation for when the user hovers over your icons. You have a lot of animations here, and this is the nice thing about Elementor Free or Pro. You can, for example, choose rotate, and no, they rotate too little for anyone to see. Let's choose another one, float, and let's see what that does. Oh, that's a nice effect. So I'm going to go with hover animation float. And of course you can change the primary color and the secondary color for when the user hovers over the images. And I'm going to go with the secondary color F9 5B 5B. And this color is the one that I'm also going to work with for the rest of the page. And now when anybody hovers the icons, they change color. And you know what I'm going to do for this secondary color? I'm going to again click on the color box right here, and I'm going to click this plus sign, and this means that I want to make this color a global color. I want it to be available without me having to write this hex code. Let's see what happens. I'm going to create a new global color, and I'm going to say red orange. It's a red and an orange, okay? So click create. And now if I want, for example, my primary color to also be this red orange, I don't have to click on the color box and write the hex code here or find my color in the color picker. I just have to click the little globe icon and scroll through the global colors. And at the end, I will find my red orange that I just saved. So that's a cool feature of Elementor. You can always save the colors that you know you are going to use often on your website. Okay, so now let's see where we are. Oh, okay, we still have to create our actual content, right? So let's go back to our work tab, and I'm going to create a new section by clicking this plus icon right here, and my section will contain two columns. The left column for my images right here, and the right column for my actual text right here. Now let's work on the right column first, and I'm first going to add all the Elementor widgets in there, and then I'm going to explain how and why we need to style them. So we'll need to add 4 headings here because I have these 4 pieces of text right here. The first heading is the subtitle or the little title that comes before the main title, which will contain the words coming soon. The second heading will contain this word that is a bit hidden behind all the text, and in my case it's design. It's meant to be a single word that describes what I'm doing. The third title will contain my proposition value, which is my main title here. We're working on something. And the fourth title will contain the single word that I want to give different color and a different font, so this word stands out from the rest, so my users will remember it better. So let's add our 4 headings. I'm going to go up here, and the heading widget is the second widget you can find in Elementor. So I'm going to add one, and I'm going to right click on this already added heading widget, and I'm going to choose duplicate. 4 times I'm going to do that because I want 4 headings. Well, this doesn't look nice, so let's change the text here. First of all, we'll have coming soon, and the second text will be design. The third text will be we're working on something, and the fourth text will be exciting. Well, this doesn't look nice, but don't worry, we will be styling this soon enough. I'm now going to add a divider, and the divider is this little line I have right here, and it's a way to separate visually the main proposition, the main value proposition from my description. So it's a nice design element to have, and I'm going to add it. I'm going to search for divider, and that's another Elementor widget, which I'm going to grab with my mouse and drag it under the last title I have here. Okay, and now I'm going to add my text with a text editor. Just grab it and drag it under the divider widget. And now I have to add this form or some kind of a form that will capture the emails of people who want to be notified when we launch the website. Now, for the users of Elementor Pro, that's very simple. You just need to add an Elementor form widget, which we will style to suit our brand. But when you only have Elementor Free, or even when you have Elementor Pro, but you suspect that a lot of people will sign up for the newsletter, then it's best to hook up this form to a MailChimp account, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a little while. Okay, so now I'm going to add my Elementor form, which is only available in Elementor Pro. I'm going to search for form, and here is my form right here. I'm going to grab it and add it under the text. Okay, so where do we start styling here? Let's start with the first title. My first title here, I want to make it a different font and smaller. So I'm going to go to the style tab. I'm going to give it a text color of the same gray I did for the icons, and that's 333333. And you know what? I'm going to click the plus sign so I can also save this color as the text color. Okay. So I can reuse it for all my titles and text here. Now for the typography of the coming soon text, I'm going to click the typography icon right here. And in Elementor, you have all these Google fonts that you can choose from. You have hundreds and hundreds of them. I think they're close to 1000. And you will see a little bit of preview of each font if you scroll down right here. But I already know what font I want to use, and that's called Railway. Here we go. And this is the font I want to use. Now for the size, I'm going to make sure PX from pixels is selected, and I'm going to give it a 14. For the font weight, I'm going to choose 400. I'm going to make my text uppercase, so only with big letters, from transform uppercase. I'm going to give it a line height of 1.7. And I'm going to also give it a letter spacing because I like how the uppercase titles look with a bit of letter spacing, and I'm going to type here 3, and see, my letters are now with more space between them. So that's it for my subtitle or supratitle, if you want to call it that. Now let's design the word design. That sounds funny. So I'm going to click with my mouse on this Elementor widget, and the contextual menu opens in the left hand side. I'm going to go on style. And first of all, for the text color, I'm going to give it a very light gray because this text is not the main text. This text needs to be almost like a dream behind the other text. So I'm going to give it a very light gray, like F6, 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 like so. You can barely read it, but let me change the typography too. I'm going to click on the pencil icon, and for the family, I'm going to choose Play Fair Display, which is another Google font. For the size, I'm going to make sure PX is selected, and I'm going to give it a 173 size. For the weight, I'm going to choose a 500, and that's it for this font. Now I'm going to style this text, my main value, proposition value. I'm going to go on style. For the text color, remember that I've already saved the text color I want to use, so I'm going to click on the little globe color, scroll down and find my text color that I just saved. For typography, I'm going to go with Play Fair Display, a 50 pixels size, a 500 weight, and a 1.3 line height. Okay. And now for the exciting word. This word, I want it to be in a different color and in a different font. So I'm going to click on it, go to the Style tab. For the text color, I'm going to choose my previously saved color, red-orange. And now for the typography, here is where Elementor Free and Elementor Pro differentiate themselves. For Elementor Free, you can click on the little icon, on the little pencil icon, and for the family, you can choose any family that is looks a bit like handwriting. For example, Aquafina script, or you have lots of fonts here. Alex Brush is also nice. And yeah, you can choose whatever font you want from here, but in Elementor Free, you cannot upload your own font, and Elementor Pro allows you to do that, and this is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. So Elementor Free users just need to choose a font family here, but Elementor Pro users, let's learn how to add our own font. I'm going to click Update on this page, and I'm going to exit to dashboard by clicking this top left icon and choosing Exit to Dashboard. And now I'm going to go to Elementor Custom Fonts because I want to create my own custom font. The custom font I'm creating is called Quentin, like the movie maker, and I'm going to click Publish. Okay, I need to first choose Add the Font Variations. Now the font variations you will find in the files you've downloaded for this project. The Quentin font is a free font, free for commercial and personal use, and I've included it in the files you can download. So you need to have all these font extensions, and let's upload them now. I'm going to click upload, upload files, select files, and I'm going to find the project files. And in the folder called font, I have all these font versions that I have to upload. And right now we are on the extension .woff. I'm going to choose it, click open, select. And now my font is uploaded. Now let's upload the extension WOFF2. Same steps, select files, and you have the font extension right here. For the TTF extension, I also have it right here. For the SVG extension, I have it here. And for the EOT file, I have it also right here. And why do you need to upload all these font extensions? And all these are actually a single font, but in different formats. Well, the truth is that different browsers will require you to have different font formats. And if you don't upload one of these formats, your font, your word here might look different in some browsers. But it's okay, because whatever font you decide to use, there will always be font converters that you can find on Google. For example, if I open Google, I already have it open, okay, and type WOFF2 EOT converter, I will find plenty of font converters that I can use. They are free of charge, so you can always convert your font no matter what extension you have. It's important to have all these file extensions uploaded. So now that I have them all, I'm going to click publish. And now my font is saved. Now let's go back to templates and let's continue working on the coming soon template that we created. I'm going to click edit with Elementor. And now let's go back to my word here and let me show you how simple it is to transform this word with the font you just uploaded in Elementor Pro. I just go to style, click the typography and find my Quentin font. And here it is. This one is under custom fonts. It was not there before. I just click on it. And when I'll click update and preview my website, this will look exactly like this one. Now I need to give it a size. I'm going to give it a size of 67 and a line height of 1.3. And now let's click update and preview our changes. Okay, so this is how my word with the new font looks like. I've also refreshed my Elementor window, so now I can see it, how it looks like. Now my main title looks good, but what I still need to do is put this word, this design word, behind my main text here, like I have it on the example website right here. So how am I going to do that? I need to bring the coming soon text lower in the page and the we're working on something exciting upper in the page, so they're almost cover the design word. So let's see how we can do that. I'm going to click on the coming soon title, and if you find it difficult to find the title with your mouse, like I find it difficult right now, all you need to do is right click, go to navigator, and here you will have a very Photoshop-like view of layers, and you can click on each layer individually, and the blue square will tell you on what layer you are, what layer was selected. So I now need to select my coming soon layer. I'm going to close the navigator, and now I'm going to go to the advanced, unlink the values for margin together. Right now they are linked together, so whatever value I write in one box, it will be repeated in all the other boxes. So I don't want that. I want to unlink the values together. And now I want to give it a margin bottom, a negative number. And let's see how we can do that. I'm just going, okay, I'm going to give it a 60, a minus 60 margin bottom, and I need to give it the same number margin top only in the positive. So I'm going to give it a 60 margin top minus 60 bottom. And my coming soon now is already lower down the page, but the problem is that my design word covers the coming soon. So now still with the coming soon selected and on the advanced tab, I'm going to go to the index and I'm going to give it the index of 1. And the index is from CSS, and it basically tells your layers, let's call them layers, what order they should take. And you can force this order by making this number higher or lower. So 1 is enough because now my coming soon is above the design layer, but I still want my coming soon to be lower down the page. So I'm going to change the margin bottom to minus 80. And the margin top to 80, minus 100. Okay, so now my coming soon text is where I want it to be, and I'm going to work on the main title. I'm going to select it with my mouse and going to the advanced tab, unlinking the margin values together. Here I will do the opposite thing. I will give it a margin top negative, a negative number, and it appears to be enough. Okay, let's update our page to save our settings and see how it looks like. It already looks good, but what I want now is for my design word to start a bit sooner than my other titles. So I'm going to move my design word here, and you know what, I'm not going to move the actual word, but I'm going to give it a margin left for the other titles, for the other words. So I'm going to try and select with my mouse the coming soon text like so. And for the margin left, I'm going to give it a 50 margin left. Same thing for my main title here. I'm going to give it a 50 margin left. And for the exciting word, unlink the values together, 50 margin left. And I'm going to do the same thing with my divider, advanced, unlink the values together for margin 50. For my text, advanced, unlink the values together, 50. And for my form, select the form, advanced, unlink the values together and give it a 50. Okay, so now it already looks better. Now moving on to our divider. As we can see in the example, the divider is a bit thicker and it doesn't go full width. So I'm going to do exactly that with my divider here. I'm going to select it, go to Style, give it a weight of 3, no, let's say 2. I'm going to change the color to the text color I previously saved. And moving back to the Content tab, the width is set to 100%. So I'm going to move this slider to the left until it has the width I want it to have, like so. And now let's change the text here. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go to Style. For the text color, I'm going to choose the text color that I previously saved. And for typography, I'm going to select the font family called Railway. I'm going to give it a 16 pixels in size, a 400 weight, and a line height of 1.7. Okay, now it looks better. And finally, the form we have right here, let's style it. Now you notice that this is a complete contact form, but I don't need all these fields, or all I need is the email. So I'm going to go to the Content tab and I have here the 3 fields, name, email and message. I'm going to delete message and I'm going to delete email, and so I only have my email field left, and I don't know why it doesn't show. When this happens, just click Update and refresh your Elementor window, and here we go. Now we only have the email field. What I still need to do here is remove the field label, but I'm not going to actually remove it because that would be bad practice. I'm going to just hide it. So in the Content tab for the form, I'm going to turn off the show for the label, like so. Now I'm going to click on the email tab to open it because I need to do some settings here. For the placeholder, I wanted to say your email, and you notice that your email appeared as a placeholder here. And for the column width, I want it to be at 60%. And now for the input size, which is the actual field where you type your email, I want this input size to be large. And I'm going to move down and open the buttons settings. And for the buttons, I also want the button to be large. I want it to be at 33% because this will place it right next to my email form. And instead of send, I want my button to say notify me. Okay. And when you are designing this form in Elementor Pro, don't forget to scroll down and still on the content tab, open the email settings, because here you will have to put your own email where you want to receive the notifications that another user just signed up for your email list. Now let's style our form a bit. I'm going to go to Style. And for my form settings, not my form settings, but my field settings, because on my form I have settings for label, and remember we hide the label, so we need to make the settings for the field and for the buttons. And for the field, I'm going to go with a text color of dark gray, like the other text color I'm using. For the typography, I'm going to go with railway, size of 12, weight of 12, sorry. And I'm going to transform this in uppercase and give it a letter spacing of 3, because as I said, I think uppercase looks better, stands out a bit, is different visually from my other text, so I can respect the visual hierarchy I have here. Okay, that's for typography. I'm also going to give it another border. This border is light blue, but I want it to have a border of a similar color, the same color as my design word right here. So I'm going to go with a border color of E0, E0, E0. That's very light gray. Okay. And I don't want it to have a border radius. Border radius means that your corners are rounded. I don't want my corners to be rounded, so I'm going to give it a 0 for border radius. Okay, and now let's style the button. For typography, I'm going to choose the railway font. I'm going to go with a size of 14 pixels and a 600 weight. I'm going to transform it to uppercase and give it a letter spacing of 3. That's a common theme on this page, right? Whatever font I have, whatever text I have in uppercase, I'm always giving it a letter spacing, and that is called consistency in the design. You can't have one uppercase font without letter spacing and another uppercase font with letter spacing. You need to be consistent. What you have in one place, you need to have in the second place on the same website. So this is it for the button. Now for the background color, I'm going to go with my red-orange color that I previously saved. And notice that for the button, I'm on the normal state, and that means how the button looks when no action happens. But on the hover state, that means what the button does when someone takes an action. In my case, when someone hovers over the button. And we're going to do the settings for this in just a moment. Right now on the normal state, I want my button to be this red orange, that's okay, and my text white. Now for the hover state, I want my button's background color to be, you know what, I want it to be a pure black, and the text continues to be white. So now let's see what happens if I hover over my button. My button turns black, so you can see how magic this is and how much Elementor helps you with this stuff. I don't want my button to have a border radius, so I'm going to type 0 here. You will tell me, hey, but in the button the text is on 2 lines. Well, that's okay, because my window is also small, very small for this video. So if I'm going back to my front end and refresh, I'm going to see my button exactly like it's supposed to be. Normal size on text on 1 line. And now we are finished with the text. This is how it's supposed to be. And it already looks good. But you know what bugs me here? I think there is, I'm just noticing right now, I think there is very little space between these icons and the top part of the browser, and between this logo and the top part of the browser, and that creates a very suffocating feeling for me. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to go back to my Elementor work window, and I'm going to select the first section that I've created, the one with the logo and the social icons. Simply select it by clicking with your mouse over this icon in the middle between the plus and the X. And now the section you can see in the left hand side, it's selected, the contextual menu has opened. I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, and for padding I'm going to unlink the values together. I'm going to make sure % is selected, and now I'm going to give it a 2% padding top and a 5% padding right, a 5% padding left, and that already looks better for me. And now let's make the same thing with the main section, with the section where our content is. I'm going to select it, go to the Advanced tab, unlink the padding values together and give it a 4. Sorry, I'm going to make sure % is selected and then give it a 4% top, a 5% right, a 5% bottom and a 5% left. Okay, so now if we go back on our home page, main page, and refresh it, it looks good, but yeah, maybe it's too much margin here. Now let's go back, and for the top let's give it a, no, let's give it a 0 for the top. Update, go back and refresh. Okay, it's still enough space between my design word and these icons, and it's not enough space to have one big blank thing right here. So now my page looks good. Okay, so now that we've created this form with Elementor Pro widget, let's see how we can recreate this sign up form with MailChimp using a free plugin that will connect our form to our MailChimp account. I'm going to go back to dashboard and exit to dashboard, and I'm going to go to plugins, add new, and I'm going to search for the plugin called MC4WP, and that stands for MailChimp for WordPress. This is the plugin developed by Ibericode, and I'm going to click install now and then activate. And in the plugins I can see my new installed plugin here, and I'm going to click settings. Now the first thing you need to do after installing this plugin is connect it to your MailChimp account, and for this you need a MailChimp API key. So you can get an API key by clicking directly on this link here, and of course this means that you already have a MailChimp account in place. If you don't have it, it's very simple to create. You just go to mailchimp.com and click create new account. But since I already have this MailChimp account, I'm just going to create a new API key so I can paste it here. And now that I clicked again on get your API key right here, I'm taken to my MailChimp account with all my API keys, and of course I have a couple of them. But now I'm going to create a new key, and my key is created on June 24th. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go back to my tab with the MailChimp for WordPress plugin, and I'm going to paste it, and then save changes. And here we go, my plugin is now connected to my MailChimp account, and all my subscribers will be put in the list called medium red. Now that I've set up the plugin, all I need to do is create a new form that will replace my Elementor Pro form. I'm going to give it a title, just newsletter. I'm going to check to see on which MailChimp list will the emails be added to, and I'm going to click add new form. In my new form here, in the right hand side I have the form preview, and in the left side I have the form code. And what I still need to do here is hide this label as we did for the Elementor Pro form. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to mess a bit with the code right here. I'm going to cut the closing HTML tag label from here, and I'm going to paste it again after the words email address here. Then I'm going to go to the opening HTML tag label. I'm going to give it a space, and I'm going to write a bit of CSS so I can hide my label. I'm going to write style equals display none. And this way my label is hidden. It is still there because simply deleting my label would be bad practice for a form, so I need to leave it in there, but instead I'm hiding it using CSS. And what I will still need to do is put this button right next to the email field. But in order to do that, I have my email field on inside a paragraph tag in HTML. P here stands for paragraph, and my button is inside another paragraph tag. So I'm going to put the email field and the button inside the same paragraph tag, and I'm going to do that by deleting these two, because right now I have the opening paragraph tag, I have my stuff here, the email address field and the button, and I have my closing paragraph tag. And this means that I will be able from CSS to put these two one next to another like it is on my example page. Okay, so now that my form is created, I'm going to save the form, save changes. And now my form gives me a shortcode, and this shortcode is the way I'm going to display the form inside my page. I'm simply going to click here, right click and copy. Now I'm going to go back to templates and select the coming soon template and click edit with Elementor. Okay, now I'm going to go to my Elementor Pro form, right click and delete it because I want to recreate this form with MailChimp. Now I'm going to search for the Elementor widget called shortcode. Here it is. And I'm going to place it with drag and drop under my text right here. And in the content, the shortcode I want to enter is the shortcode I copied from the previously created form. Here is the shortcode. And now I'm going to click update. And now my form is in here, but I need to style it a bit so it can look exactly like the example form I have here. Well, to do this, in Elementor Pro, you need to go to the Advanced tab, scroll down, and open the Custom CSS settings and write here your own custom CSS. But with Elementor Free, this doesn't work. So with Elementor Free, I will have to exit to Dashboard, and I'm going to go to Appearance and Customize. It's not very different. You just have to do a couple of steps first. And in Elementor Free, you can do the CSS settings from the customizer. You have here additional CSS, and in this box you need to copy paste the CSS code I've put in the project files. I'm just going to copy paste it and see what we get. Okay, so now that my code is pasted, let's go back to the website, refresh. And here we go. This is the MailChimp form we just created, and now the form looks almost the same as our example form right here. And what I still need to do is give it a margin left of 50 like I did for all the other elements. So I'm going to go to the Elementor, refresh this, and select my shortcode, go to the advanced, unlink the values together for margin, and give it a 50 pixels margin left. And now the form looks just right. Okay, so this is how you add a form with Elementor Free or Elementor Pro. Now let's see what we still have to do. Now we still have to have these images that will show our visitors what we are working on behind the scenes to spark a bit of interest and curiosity. And you can, of course, go with a single image here, but I liked how 4 images look like, and I think they represent my final product better. So let's see how we can create these 4 images. I'm going to go back to my Elementor work screen, and I see here that I have this column where I have to put 4 images. But how will I be able to put those? Because if you notice, I have 2 images up and 2 images down. Can I do that from my single column? Well, let's see. What if I add an image widget and then I add another image widget? Let's see what that does. Okay, that is good, and we could work with that, but there is no way to put 2 images next to one another on a single row and then 2 images down. And it's not a big deal, you could work with that, but let's remain within our design scope. So I'm going to delete these images and show you a bit of trick in Elementor. So if you remember, we talked about Elementor sections and the way you can add a new section, and each section contains 1 or more columns, and in the columns you put your stuff. Well, guess what? Inside Elementor sections, inside sections column, you can also add a subsection. So I'm going to go to Elementor widgets, and I can see here that I can add an inner section widget. And I grab it and drag it here, and my inner section widget acts exactly the same like my main section. I can add or remove columns, and I can drag my stuff, my Elementor widgets, inside these columns. But what you need to know is that this only works once. So if I want another section inside my subsection, this will not work. Look at that. I can only add it under. So one subsection under another, but I cannot add a subsection inside a subsection inside a subsection. That doesn't work. You can only nest them 2 times. So I have my main section and one nested subsection. So this is how it works in Elementor. But that's okay. That's enough for me because all I want is to have 1, 2, 3, 4 images right here. So for this, I've added 2 subsections. Now in Elementor Free, if you're working with Elementor Free and you have created these subsections, you just need to go to Elementor Widgets, find your image widget, and drag the image widget on each of the columns of the 2 subsections. So I'm going to right-click, copy, right-click, paste, right-click, paste, and right-click, paste. And of course, now I'm going to go to each image, choose Upload Files, select Files, and in my files for this project, I have the subfolder Images, and in here, I will find all the images that I need to upload for this section in the left-hand side. So I'm going to select the first image, insert media, then go to the second image, click on the image, select the second image I want, and the third, and the fourth. And that's a pretty decent way to do it with Elementor Pro. And of course, what I still need here is bring these images a bit lower on the page because I want them to start where the D from design starts. This is because I want my layout to be aligned. This way it's a bit visually unpleasing. So in order to do that, I'm going to go and select the main column that contains all these subsections. And I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, unlink the values for the margin together and give it a margin top of, let's say, 40 pixels. And that's enough. I'm going to click Update, go back to my front page, and here is how they look like. They really look good. I can maybe give it a bit of space here or write more words here. So the text in the right-hand side is longer and matches the images. And that's a pretty decent and very good way to do it with Elementor Free. But I want to show you what I decided to do with a widget that's only available in Elementor Pro, and that's called the Call to Action widget. On my example coming soon page, you see that I have these images here, but when I hover with my mouse over each image, you will see that a bit of text comes. And it's not obvious when you look at the images, but the user has to hover with his mouse over the images. And that's the hidden stuff. That's the Easter egg I was telling you about. It's a fun way for the user to discover something hidden on your website. And usually when you discover something hidden, it always remains in your mind. So I want to do this. I want to have these call to action widgets so I can create a bit of a mystery around my site and make maybe something fun for the user to experiment. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to my Elementor Work tab. I'm going to right click and delete these images because I want to replace them, as I said, with the Elementor Pro widget called Call to Action. I'm going to go to my image search right here, and I'm going to search for Call to Action. Here it is. I'm going to drag the first call to action in my first column, and it looks bad. Now let's style it. For the skin, I'm going to choose cover. And for the image, I'm going to choose my first image, which is the coffee with good morning. For the image size, I'm going to have it on full. And for the content, I'm going to delete the description, and the title will be the text that appears when a user hovers with his mouse over my image. So the first title is A Completely New Way. I don't want to have this button, so in order to remove it, I simply remove the text here. I don't want to have a link, and this is how it's supposed to look, but I'm also going to style it a bit. I'm going to give it a fixed height of 250 pixels. I'm going to make sure my alignment is on the left and the vertical position is on the bottom. Now for the content tab, for the content settings, I'm going to mess with the typography, and I'm going to choose Play Fair Display for the text, an 18 pixels of size, a weight of 600, And that's it. Now for the title color, I'm going to click the color box and go with a pure black. And now for the hover effects, because right now I don't, my text stays there. I want the text to appear when a user hovers over it. So I'm going to open the hover effects settings. And for the hover animation, I want to have it slide in down. Here it is. Now my text disappears. And when I hover with my mouse, the text appears. What I still want to have is the overlay color, but only when I hover. I don't want to have an overlay color on the normal state of the image, only when I hover. So I'm going to select the hover tab, and for overlay color I'm going to select a white, but that's not right because it becomes full white. So I'm going to give it a bit of transparency, like so. Yes, like so, maybe a bit more. And now my image is a bit disappears a bit while my text comes in the main view. So this is how my call to action will look like. And now I'm going to right click on this widget and I'm going to select copy, and I'm going to select paste for the other columns, because this way I'm going to paste the settings for the widget as well. So I don't feel like doing the same settings 4 times. So I'm just going to paste them. And what I still need to do is replace the image and the text for each widget. Okay, now I'm going to click update and go and refresh my page. And here are my widgets. And the thing is, the text completes each other. So you should start with this text a completely new way, but the continuation for this is a completely new way to work and to have fun while living a balanced life and reaching your potential. So I think this is a fun and nice effect to create a bit of mystery on my website. So this is how you create the images in the left side. Now you would say that our coming soon page is ready, right? Well, wrong, because our coming soon page is not yet optimized for mobile use. So you probably know that at least 60% of the traffic on your website will come from mobile visitors. And this is why it's so important to have a website optimized for visitors that visit your website from a tablet and for visitors that come on your website from a mobile device. And I remember when doing websites in HTML and CSS, it was a pain to optimize the website in CSS for all the screen views. I had to take in view all these different data or all these different variables, but in Elementor it's actually pretty simple. So you just need to go to your Elementor work tab and you need to click on this little icon right here, which will put your right hand side view in responsive mode. I'm going to click on it, and now I can see how the website will be viewed from a mobile. But you know what? Let's start with the tablet view first, so we can optimize what it is to be optimized on the tablet. Okay. From a first view, I can see that my logo is way too small for the tablet. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go back to Style tab, and you will notice this little icon next to width. And this means that whatever width I give my logo right now, it will only apply on the tablet. So I can give it I can give it a 4%, a 5% width, which is really small. You cannot see it, but if I go back to the desktop view, you will see that this icon changes to a desktop icon, and now my width is not 5% anymore, it's 30%, because this is the value I want to have for the desktop. So whatever setting you see in Elementor that has a little icon next to it, that means that this particular setting will only be available on the mobile device that the icon signifies. So I'm going to go back to tablet view, and I'm going to correct the width of my logo. I'm going to give it 68% width, and this, as I said, will only be applied to the tablet view. Now my social icons look good, but going down the page, this part is too crammed together. My images do not look good, and my design word, you cannot see the design word unless you horizontally scroll, which is a thing you don't want to have on your website, making the users to scroll horizontally. So how we can fix this? Well, we can make these columns are currently at 50% each of width, and we can make these columns at 100% each. So instead of columns, we will simply have two rows, one row of images and one row of text. So how can I do that? I'm going to click on the column icon. I'm going to go to the layout tab, and for the column width, which is again applies only to the tablet because I have this tablet icon right here, for the column width I'm going to type in 100. Okay, and now scrolling down, I'm going to select the second column, which is still at 50%. Even if it doesn't write up here, it's still 50%, and I'm going to give it 100%. Okay, this looks cool, but the problem I'm having now is that when my visitors open the website from a tablet, I want them to first see the text and then the images. The images are not the most important part on this page. The text is. The images complete the text, but I first want my visitors to see the main title and the call to action. So how do I do that? Well, you need to select this section that contains the images and the text, and go to the Advanced tab, scroll down, open the responsive settings, and here in the responsive you can see that you can reverse the columns on tablet and on mobile view. And when I activate this reverse columns tablet, here it is, my text appears first and my images appear last. And on desktop view, they will still be one next to another, only on the tablet view. Now I didn't activate the reverse columns for mobile. So guess what happens when I turn the visibility for mobile? The images still come first. So I'm going to activate reverse columns for mobile as well. Okay, back to the tablet view. Now this looks good, and this looks good, and that's it. This is all what I need to modify for my tablet users to be happy with the view of my coming soon page. Now I'm going to switch to mobile view and see what the problems are here. Well, first of all, I'm going to modify from 320 to 360 because this is the minimum width most or 99% of mobile phones have these days. So just to be more realistic here. Now I'm going to click on my logo. I'm going to go on Content tab, and I'm going to modify the alignment to center. And notice that my alignment setting also have this mobile icon next to it, and this means that the modification I'm doing here will only be available on mobile. So I'm changing the logo alignment to center, and I'm going to do the same thing with the social icons. I'm going to click on the widget, make sure I'm on the Content tab, and change the alignment to center. That's better. And what else am I going to do here? Well, remember we gave a margin left of 50 pixels to all these elements here. We don't need that on mobile. So I'm going to select each of these titles, and I'm going to go to the Advanced. And even if nothing is written here, I know that my margin left is here. I can switch on the desktop view. If you don't believe me, here it is. And I still need to keep the other margins. So I'm going to go to mobile, unlink the values together, and give it 80 pixels top, -100 bottom, and 0 to the left. And this is for the coming soon word. And you know what? I'm going to decide to hide the design word from mobile because it doesn't bring anything extra to our information. It's a nice word to have. It's a good design element we have on desktop and on tablet, but on mobile it just doesn't make sense. And it's okay, you can hide things from mobile view as long as you don't hide like your logo or your main call to action, but secondary things, it's okay to hide them from users visiting your website from a mobile. So to hide an Elementor widget from a certain type of users, in my case mobile users, you just go to the Advanced tab with the element selected. You scroll down to the responsive and you check the option hide on mobile. Now as I turn this option on, I can see that my design word now has all these lines, and that's okay because these lines tell you that it is hidden. Even if you see it in your Elementor window, it will still be hidden from your visitors on the front end using a mobile. So this is what I wanted to do, hide this design word. And now let's go to our title, next title, and remove the margins. Okay. And for the exciting word also, For the divider, the same thing. For the text, the same. And for our form, the same. So here it is. Even if this word still, maybe you can still view it here, it will be hidden on the front end. And now everything else looks fine. I can read my text, I can see my images, and the most important thing, all mobile users can read the most important text and can see the most important call to action first when they open this website. I'm going to click update to save my changes. And this, girls and boys, is how you can create a coming soon page in Elementor. Oh, and you know what? You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to actually turn the maintenance mode on. So I'm going to exit this Elementor screen and I'm going to go back to my dashboard, Elementor tools. And remember that we were on the maintenance mode and I was explaining you the differences between coming soon and maintenance. I said I'm going to go with the coming soon, but I didn't select a template. I clicked on the create one link, but I created the template, but I didn't actually select it. So now that my template is already done, I need to select it from the drop down. My template name is coming soon. I'm going to click on it and click Save Changes. And once I click Save Changes, you will see this red square maintenance mode on. And this is to remind you that you can only view the website if you are logged in. And since I'm now logged in, I can view the website. But when your website is finished, please remember to turn the maintenance mode off so all the world can actually see your website. And now if I logged out of the website and click refresh, so I'm logged out, I'm a simple visitor, I don't have an admin account, and this is what I'm seeing, the page we just created. Okay, so at the beginning of this tutorial, I said something about a free template kit or a free template that you can import on your website. And now I'm going to show you how to import the template. In the files that you've downloaded for this project, in the subfolder called template, you will have two files with the extension .json, Elementor Free Kit and Elementor Pro Kit. .json is the extension that you can use to import an Elementor template kit, and you should use Elementor Free Kit if you only have Elementor Free, and you should use Elementor Pro Kit if you are also in possession of a Elementor Pro license. So right here I have a clean WordPress installed and the maintenance mode is on, but I don't have any template selected. So now let's import a template. I'm going to go to templates and choose import templates. And right now I have Elementor Free installed without the Pro. So I'm going to select my Elementor Free Kit and click open and then click import now. And now that I see my template imported, coming soon free, I can click edit with Elementor. And here you have everything you need to get started with your coming soon page. What you still need to do is remove the header. And if you have a footer, also remove the footer. So you need to go to settings and set the page layout to be Elementor Canvas. And of course, feel free to modify this text and these images right here. I'm going to click update. And of course, you still need to install MailChimp for WordPress to create the form and to connect the plugin MailChimp for WordPress to your MailChimp account. And I already showed you how to do that. You can use the timestamps to navigate to see how you can create this. But this is all you need to know about importing the Elementor free template kit. And now let me show you how you can import the template kit for Elementor Pro. But first I need to go to plugins and activate my Elementor Pro plugin, because otherwise the template will not import correctly. I'm going to click activate and then go back to templates, import templates, choose the file for Elementor Pro and click import now. And now a new template appears here, coming soon Pro. So I'm going to click edit with Elementor. So now this is the template for the Elementor Pro. Like in the case of the template for Elementor Free, I need to go down here to settings and change the page layout to Elementor Canvas. And what you still need to do is you don't have this word, the exciting word with the Quentin font, because the font you need to import separately, and I've already described how to import a font in Elementor Pro. Please feel free to go back to the tutorial using the timestamps and learn how to do that. And once you've uploaded the font, you just need to go to Style, Typography, and change the font to the one you've imported. In my case Quentin, but it doesn't show because I don't have that font imported yet. So this is how you import the template kit for Elementor Pro and Elementor Free. Congratulations, you've reached the end of this tutorial. If you followed my steps exactly, or even if you imported the free template on your website, you should now have a beautiful and functional coming soon page. Plus, you should have a little bit of extra knowledge about web design in general and about how to work with Elementor. If web design is something that you are interested in, like long-term or as a career, you can also grab my free guide, 17 ways to make money online as a web designer, and I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. Thanks for watching and see you next week.